to A Well-Designed Business. My name is LuAnn and I'm so glad you found this podcast. Together with my husband Vince and our partner Bill, we have grown our company WindowWorks from the ground up. So I know and I understand the challenges you face in running your interior design business. I also know that your talent alone isn't enough to ensure your success. So on this podcast, we talk about strategies and practical steps to help you grow your business. But make no mistake about it, we have our share of fun here too, mixed in with those aha moments that I love so much. This isn't fluff. Nobody has time for that. Whether you are a new interior designer or a seasoned designer, I am here to help you create and to manage the kind of interior design firm that you dream of. It's straight talk and it's action. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hi, welcome to A Well-Designed Business. Today's episode is one that I have been trying to make happen for a while. I met today's guest, Kristen Rivoli, a couple of years ago at a dinner for designers that was hosted by Kristen McLaughlin from the Boston Design Center. Now, Kristen and I sat next to each other and we hit it off right out the gate. We had such a great conversation at dinner, and I, in fact, invited her onto the show that night. But she wasn't ready, and probably because she knew that she was on the precipice of a big rebrand. And so fast forward to today, post-rebrand and expansion of her business, and now she is here ready to share her insights. Kristen founded Kristen Rivoli Interior Design in 2009 after years of experience designing luxury residential and large-scale commercial projects. Her designs have been featured in Architectural Digest, House Beautiful, New England Home, Boston Common, Domino, Boston Globe Magazine, and HGTV. Today, Kristen is going to share her insights on how the design industry has changed over the years, the importance of process, and how she brought in a successful new revenue stream that connected her to a new client base. So before we talk to Kristen, let's take a minute to thank our show sponsor, My Doma Studio. My Doma Studio is the best place for you to manage all the details of your design projects, from time tracking to invoicing and receiving payments, even communication between you, your trades, and your clients. Go to mydomastudio.com/a well-designed business to get started today. All right, let's have this conversation with Kristen. I'm excited to share her with you. Hi, Kristen. Thanks so much for joining me on A Well-Designed Business today.
Hi, LuAnn. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, I've been looking forward to our conversation, Kristen, because I remember the last time I saw you was at that amazing dinner that Kristen McLaughlin, who I guess, I don't know what her official title is, director of the Boston Design Center. I don't know what her title is, but she hosted that wonderful dinner for, all of us. It must have been about 8 or 10 or 12 of you lovely designers. And wasn't that such a fun night?
That was amazing, and I had the good luck of sitting next to you.
We had a good conversation, didn't we?
Yeah, we sure did. Yeah.
And to that point, it's a little crazy that it took this many years to be on the podcast, because that night I'm sure I was like, let's get you on the show, right?
Yeah. Yes, you did. You were like, get on the show. And I'm like, I have nothing to talk about right now. Because as you know, I've been doing a lot of rebranding, and there was a lot of, it took a couple of years of putting the work into it to get things going.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. We're going to talk about that. And I know that's going to be so helpful to our colleagues listening. But I also know that then you had a lot that you could have shared and brought to the show. But all in good time. Things happen when they're supposed to happen, right?
Right.
So one thing is I just want to cover with you a moment before we get into the specifics of your business is, when I have the opportunity to speak with somebody that has had either their own firm for 15, 20 years or has been in the industry like you have for more than, 30 years at this point, what I love to talk about is the reflections of whatever is happening in the world. And right now we're talking about, design in the, pandemic world and the onslaught of business that we've all experienced. And of course, all of the joys that go with it and not so many joys that go with it. And what's your observation and what's been your experience with, the way the pandemic has impacted the design industry and your business in particular, Kristen?
Well, as you said, I've been in the industry for a long time, whether it was in the commercial world or now in the residential world. And I've seen a lot of ups and downs. And our design industry has never really been the recipient of positive business when it comes to these economic downturns. And for whatever reason, this pandemic, the design industry, what I've heard and what I'm experiencing has really benefited from this, and that people really turned to their homes, and they were in their homes for obviously a year and a half, and really started to take stock of what they had and wanting to do more design work or move completely, things like that.
Well, and it was. I don't know if you noticed the same thing, but me personally, exactly what you said. Window Works, was just, was and still is just breaking records because of, as exactly that, people in their home wanting to redesign, needing, paying attention to things that were broken or stupid or whatever, right? But it was kind of weird, and every once in a while, I've had that thought, like, wow, like mostly if Vin and I have been out to a restaurant, and I'm like, my goodness, we are slammed with business specifically for the same reason that this gentleman or this woman is like just really trying to hold on to their business. It's a crazy thing, isn't it? Because to your point, we've never been on this side of this coin. We've always been with an economic downturn. The housing market is affected, and then we're affected, and then we're all standing around going, oh my goodness, don't you want pretty things anymore? Right?
Listen, we are a luxury profession, and I get that. We're the first things that are going to be probably put to the side for the time being until, whatever blows over. But in this instance, people were home. They were still working or maybe not working, and they just found that they really wanted to kind of update, make their home beautiful. They hadn't spent so much time in their home because they were always at work.
Right.
So now they were really noticing things and saying, yeah. And so we've been crazy busy, like double the work that we've normally done. And it's been hard to manage. I have to say, sometimes too much work is harder than not enough.
Oh, that's without question. Vin and I, and everybody at Window Works, we have lamented this week after week after week in our meetings. It's trying to keep our heads above water. And I know that for us personally, Vin and myself, we'd have conversations about, and also, all with my colleagues at Exciting Windows as well. We have conversations about, yes, if you're in business long enough to have experienced a recession or a depression or whatever it is, you know that struggle, that those sleepless nights, that feeling of, oh my goodness, is there anything I can do to impact this, to change this, to turn this around? But I think what we've discovered is that there always seems to be, it doesn't, like, for instance, for me, I think just being as just a true salesperson, I don't care how slow business is. I know I can get up and I can go knock on a door. I can walk into a store, into a business and say, hey, your window treatments look pretty crappy. You know what I mean? Do you want some new ones like this, right? And it might be that in a time of a recession that only 2 people out of 35 people say yes, whereas in a time of boom, 25 out of 35 say yes. But I still always felt like I had that there was something in me that I could do. This is a whole different story, though. This is literally just standing there at the door and trying to not drown in the flood. And it's, when you hear customer after customer, for you guys, client after client, disappointed, upset with delays and back orders, and you explain it to them and they say, oh, I understand. I my husband's, businesses or my wife's business is in the same boat, but can you still get here on Friday? It's like, wait, that whole part I just told you.
So what I've been finding is that, my clients are concerned and they understand, and they've heard things in the news about, delays and shipping and things like that. And I talk them through it and I let them know that, we've been through this before. We're only going to be working with the resources we know we have stock of material or product. Maybe there are certain items that we are going to have to wait for, but they're not critical. We can move forward with the design. Everything's okay. Here's a contractor. We're going to be doing this project, and we're going to make sure that we're doing a lot more pre-design work and maybe setting ourselves up so that we are ordering the tile and the materials and whatever for your new kitchen way ahead of time so that we're giving ourselves that cushion. There's a lot of prep work we can do, but then a day or two later, I'll get an email and it's like, well, I just talked to my neighbor 2 doors down and they just did this project. And it's, they said that we're never going to get our stuff and we're never going to get, and it's like, don't worry. Don't listen to them. Listen to my voice. Follow me. Look into the light. We're your design gurus here. We're your advocates. So we are the ones that are going to take care of you.
Well, and it's so true because, my inside voice then is like, oh, your neighbor, that expert interior design person over there. Oh, that's awesome. That's great. Yeah. And what else? Does she know, the layout for the furniture too? Because exactly. It's true. In other words, that neighbor could have been working with a GC only, right? How many people do that, right? Or maybe their designer isn't as seasoned and didn't understand that, yes, we're expecting to install the kitchen, in 6 months. So order tile now. This is an unusual period in time. So there's a myriad of reasons why their particular project sat in limbo. And maybe it's for good quality reasons, but maybe it wasn't a well-run project, right?
Right, exactly. And you don't want to say that, obviously.
Right.
Listen, we're a pretty seasoned and experienced team here. So we are going to take care of you. We're going to just put our arms around you and bring you along, and we're taking care of you. And don't you worry, we'll make you a part of the process as much as you want, but just trust that I'm being as transparent with you as possible. And I am going to let you know the bad news as well as the good news, because it is about communication. And that's how you reassure those people.
Well, that's lots of good advice in there, Kristen, is really, and you tied it up at the bow. It's about communication, right? It's about being honest on the places and the areas that you really need to be honest on, right? We've had that conversation as well. It's like, we do this genius awning, which is really an amazing structure. It's a retractable room, and we've done $200,000 units at rooftops in New York City, at hotels and restaurants, the way. Yeah, to $50,000 and $20,000 units for residential patios and so forth. And it's an amazing product. And everybody wants one now because, to your point, everybody's home. And there was a point in June. Now, 2 years ago, the lead time for a Genius was 4 to 6 weeks. At June, at one point, the lead time went from 8 weeks to 16 weeks.
Oh, gosh.
And, here's my salespeople in June going, am I going to tell somebody they're not getting their Genius until October?
Yes.
But that's the point. You really do have to you can't, because, we're already having the crazy phone calls trying to mitigate all of the disappointment, let alone if we tell them something that's not true, right?
So, this is it. This is the reality of today. And if you don't rip the Band-Aid off and tell your client, then you're just setting yourself up for a world of hurt, because you're going to have a pretty upset client if you're not honest with that. I got a lead time of a piece of furniture that was 8 to 32 weeks. And I was like, okay, how am I going to deliver that news?
Tomorrow or never. Why didn't they just say tomorrow or never?
Maybe you're going to get it. So, I said to my client, listen, right now the lead time is 8 to 32 weeks. So we could get it, place the order, and then we'll just kind of see what happens when the factory can get caught up.
See, I would have to call that factory and be like, I'm sorry, is this just laziness on your part? Are we just it's like every single Sunday, Vin and I order a pizza every Sunday from the same place. Okay. And I don't care. Kristen, for 3 years, every single time you call, when you're done ordering, you say how long? They say an hour. And sometimes it comes in 10 minutes, and sometimes it comes in 45, and sometimes it comes in an hour and a half. I swear to goodness. Every time. And I'm like, it's a joke now. Vinny says, why do you keep asking? I'm like, because it's fun, you know?
Because it's like what's it going to be today? Yeah.
But I mean, 8 to 32 weeks, come on. That's a little crazy pants. Somebody's got to tighten that up a little. How are you supposed to say that to a customer?
Right. Yeah. Right, exactly. So I was like, all right, well, we're just going to place that order and see what they come back with.
Yeah.
And it was better. It was definitely better than 32 weeks, but that's what was happening.
That is the translation of we have no idea what we're doing and what the lead times are. Let's just say anything.
Yeah. See what sticks.
Yeah. So but by the way, that also expresses how hard it's been for our vendors, right? Because they are experiencing channel distribution delays among their channels too, and so production and delivery delays. I mean, on their channels as well, and so it just gets to be like, I don't know, whatever. It'll get here whenever.
Yeah, and really the best advice I can give to my clients is, we're going to move forward with the design, but we're all going to just have to be a little more patient. Things are just really upside down right now,
Yeah.
It's our reality of today. Mm-hmm. So,
and it's funny because I wouldn't have thought that, 13, 14, 15 months later, we'd still be having to have those conversations with the clients. I mean, I really... who expected it to sustain a level for this long? And it's curious. And again, just to mention, at Exciting Windows, we're starting to collect data and starting to see if we can forecast when and how long this may last, and if we're starting to see signs of it abating, because we want to be ahead of it. We don't want to be caught unawares. We've all built up our teams. We've all, built in a lot of infrastructure to support this massive growth, and you need to be able to manage that smartly if there's going to start to be a return to pre-COVID conditions, right?
That's right. Yep. Exactly.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's when you have a big company, it's one thing you're a solo, you might be spending more money on yourself and your family, but you could cut that back, right?
Yeah, you can ride the wave and you're fine. But when you have employees, there's a lot more, and an office space and all of those other things that, go along with it. So it's always, I do collect data. We always look back and review. Bookkeeping, accounting, projects, based on the size of the project, based on the budget of the project. So we are constantly reviewing all of those numbers because I like to be able, it obviously informs me for the next project.
And this, I have learned, and I wonder if it's true for you as well. You said that you did the several years in the luxury commercial space. And it seems to me almost to a designer that has come from the commercial space has a certain extra leg up when it comes to systems, processes, tracking, all of that, because it's so expected and critical at the commercial level. Like, they're not screwing around there. There's too many balls in the air, right?
Right. And there's just, the size and scale of the projects are just enormous. So you have to be organized. And when you're doing a project of that, scale, you have to have the processes and the paperwork in place. And I learned so much from the firms that I was at. And I can remember when I made the switch to residential, and I kind of, this was pre a lot of the, design manager, studio designer programs. I was creating my own paperwork to, for orders, for pricing requests. And I can remember the showrooms just looking at me like I had three heads. And they were like, we've never gotten such organized paperwork before from somebody. Like, who are you? And it was just because of my past experience and, making sure I had those processes in place all along.
And, it's funny because I laugh because, I laugh because all the times I get requests and all the things that are so like, really? How was I, we'll get requests. Oh, hey, can you give us a quote for drapes and Roman shades? Here's the fabric and it's 6 windows. And I'm like, Any sizes? Any sizes? Like,
dimensions in there.
be helpful. I mean, and you think I'm exaggerating. I wish I was. I am not.
I believe it. I believe it.
And the thing is, it's for me, I'm laughing about it. It's aggravating in the moment, certainly,
Right.
but I have come to understand that it really is just a lack of understanding, a lack of training. And if you don't know the difference, you don't realize that I always say to people, like, designers will come to us at WindowWorks and say, how do, we always talk about on the show about being organized and, being a good partner and all this, like, what can I do? How can I be a better designer and give you better information, and so that I can get better information? And I always say to them, imagine handing what you've just handed to me, the email that you've just handed to me, to your brother, your sister, your high school kid, right? If that person can't at least start to figure out, maybe they don't know the calculations, maybe they don't know this, but if that person can't figure out what you want, then I can't either. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, I don't have superpowers, you know what I mean? So anyway, but I love that, because I have learned that designers that have cut some teeth in a commercial space really do have those processes.
Designers, especially in Boston, who have come over from the commercial world, and they're you can tell by the way they run their firm.
Yeah. And the thing is, look, do we all have to go out and work for a commercial firm,
No.
to start? No. But, I also get tons of emails over the course of a month, and they're saying, what do you think I should do? I want to, go into design. And, I never really thought about it till just now, but that's a good thing. Even if you want to be a residential designer, Kristen, right? Go spend a year at a commercial firm, right?
Yep. Give all sides of the design world a try, and try it on, see if it works. I had a young lady who worked for me right out of school, and she decided she wanted to go into commercial, and I was like, great, let me help you. And helped her get a new position in the commercial world.
Yeah.
So
I have found that two things surface over and over again throughout the 5.5 years on the show: that the training that you get with a commercial firm, and also the training you get when you work in a retail furniture store, both are really valuable to informing how you run your business, right?
Yeah, it's about customer service, it's about organization, it's about having a design process.
Yeah, I mean, that's it right there. Like, boom, okay, mic drop.
Yep, there it is.
I love it. So you have been able to create a nice business for yourself, and now you have set out to, you've added a new revenue stream to your business, and you've needed to, in order to add this revenue stream, I understand that it was important to think about it carefully and to think about the branding of it and how it would work into your existing branding. Kristen, you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so, I found over the years that I was getting a lot of calls from people who obviously were really interested in working with a designer or loved design and wanted to improve their home. But I could tell from talking with them that maybe we weren't the right fit, but I would go on the meeting anyways. And sure enough, my fee would probably be the whole of their budget. So it never worked out. And that became a frustration for me, because obviously my business is one-on-one luxury design clients. And I knew that there was this whole other group of people out there who weren't quite ready to hire a luxury interior designer for their home, but who really loved interior design. And I know there were a lot of people out there doing design in a box and different kinds of e-designs. And I looked at those kind of programs and I just thought, it's not for me. I see that these people want to do it themselves. And I want to make it as efficient as possible so that there doesn't have to be a lot of back and forth. It doesn't consume a lot of their time. Most of them are always working. And maybe I can give them, like I have added a video consulting half hour if they want to with me afterwards. But I created this package that helps people who are ready to decorate without the back and forth. And it's all put together for them in a way that's really curated. It's using all retail sources. I don't get commissions from them. What they pay for is the package. And inside that package is you'll see the picture of the room and all the selected furniture pieces, but then there's more within that package. There's a how-to on where to hang window treatments. There's a how to size the rug in your room, how to hang artwork on your wall. So there's a lot inside the package that you don't see, obviously. Um, and then there's a whole other couple of pages of art and decor that we've selected that give you the links to all of those retail outlets as well. And you can pick and choose what you decide to buy. Maybe you have a chair and a coffee table, and you need a sofa, and you need a bookcase, and you need, all these other pieces. Well, you can either, choose to get those things now, or you can do it piecemeal, which is what a lot of people have to do when they're first buying a home or it's a second home and they don't have as big a budget as they'd like. Those links are there for them. They own them, and you can do it at your own pace. So I really wanted it to feel a little more natural, and also a little more flexible.
So let me backtrack a little bit, and then I want to pick apart some of those deliverables. First of all, explain to me when you are describing, I looked into how other colleagues are doing design in a box or whatever, and that wasn't a right fit for you. What in your mind is the deliverable in a design for a box as opposed to what you've created? Just get me clear on that.
Okay. So what I had seen out there is that you would contact a firm, you'd send them dimensions of your room, and they would draw plans for you. Then they would have a meeting with you, maybe over FaceTime, and kind of interview you. And then they would make all these selections, and then they'd send you their presentation in a box. You get that box. Now you're looking at it, and the end user maybe doesn't like certain things here or there, and you have another meeting. So it's a lot of that back and forth until you get it right, and then they give you the links to purchase those pieces of furniture, or something like that. Where my design is all curated for you, just like I would for a client. So I, created clients, and I have 6 different types of rooms that have different personalities. So the names are Paris, Copenhagen, Berlin, Boston, Cape Town, and Palm Springs. And I created a vibe, a feeling, because design is really how it makes you feel, um, from each of those cities, and maybe what they're known for, or what they conjure up in your mind. um, it's all selected for you, so you can go on my website, you can look at a living room, and you can see the pieces, the color schemes, and you can think, that really resonates with me. I love Copenhagen, the real Scandinavian look, a lot of wood frames, the colors work for me. And when you purchase that living room or the primary bedroom, or a home office, you get everything in that package, and it's all delivered all at once.
Okay. And so are we saying that you've designed it once and now it's for sale over and over and over again?
Correct.
Okay. Okay. So it's okay. So rather than designed specifically for a person, they pick a style.
Yep.
And okay. So it's sort of like back in the old days, right? We used to go into the big furniture stores and we would look at
Yeah.
the vignettes and we'd say, okay, I'll take that living room. You know what I mean? And it was like you took the sofa, the chairs, the lamps, and all the things, right?
Right.
If you certainly weren't our audience, right?
Right.
Because
So
that's your point. You're talking about
exactly.
not your ideal. This isn't your avatar. This is a client who appreciates design and wants it done well, but is not at the level yet that they can
Correct.
invest in a luxury designer and that full on experience.
Absolutely. And the difference is that while, the furniture stores would have those room vignettes, and we've set up vignettes, ours are curated from different retail companies. So it's not like, oh, the side tables match the coffee table, match the bookcase. It's not like that at all. It's
Mm.
really kind of a specially curated, oh, look at the bookcase from this company, look at the side tables from here. We really wanted it to feel collected and curated, just like we would for our one-on-one clients.
So I'm going to ask a silly question.
Sure.
So when I look at your website, and for instance, I look on the Boston primary bedroom, the homey
Yeah.
side of New England style, right?
Yep.
And the picture is there. It's a mood board, right? It's like a
Yep.
vignette setup. Obviously, so I was gonna say, what's the difference between seeing it and just going out now and trying to find it on my own? The difference is that if I buy this package at $875, you're going to give me the link to this bed, you're going to give me the link to these nightstands, you're going to give me the
Yep.
link to this stuff.
Yep. You get the links to everything. And also what you don't see are those other pages. There's a page of just tips and tricks, how to make sure that you're measuring your room correctly, you're laying it out correctly. Other things that I don't want to share, obviously, because we want you to buy the package, but there's a lot of really great tips in there from my years of experience of doing design work, that if you're my client, that's what you're going to get.
Okay.
And then you get the other pages. You get all of the art and decor pages that you don't see. Um, but it's, you buying a bookshelf. Well, here's some items you can put on that bookshelf along with your personal items. So we really want it to feel like you. And if you don't have stuff, well, here's some decor, here's some artwork. If you do, great, mix it together.
Right. And how long has this been launched, Kristen?
So we launched it it's now almost a year.
Nice, nice. And I love the name, Rooms by Rivoli. That's a
Yep.
catchy name. That's a
Yeah, yeah.
good name. And now walk us through, the challenge of, or was it a challenge of branding this without, mixing and muddying the waters of your primary revenue stream, which is the luxury full service offering?
Right. So when I was redoing my interior design website and rebranding, we did the Rooms by Rivoli branding at the same time, because we just felt like it really needs to feel like an extension of my Kristen Rivoli interior design clients. And so we wanted, again, that curated feel. The logo is done in a similar font, but it's specifically Rooms by Rivoli. And we wanted them to know that although this might be at a lower price point, it's certainly not, it's certainly the same kind of design that you're going to get from me. I'm helping put these rooms together. So
Yeah, I have seen that this is you've achieved it, to your point, with the
thank
the
you.
fonts and the photographs and everything, like, but it is a challenge. Many designers have talked about the challenge of offering a different, Nancy G ladder of services that is
Yeah.
different than what their bread and butter or their passion is,
Yeah.
right? And not, it was funny because there's one designer I'm thinking of in coaching. We had many discussions about, should she offer some other entry level package that's a one and done type of a thing? And the reasons to do it a lot of times are to keep the lights on, right? When you're growing your firm, it's like, okay, we want the big $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 projects and larger, but sometimes, three or four, $2,000 or $3,000 projects in the course of a month just keep things humming, right?
Right. Well, and I kept getting these calls. So obviously there's a whole group of people out there who someday will be able to afford a one-on-one, luxury interior design service. But right now they can't. So I don't want to turn them away, and I don't want them to feel like design's not for me because I don't have the money. I want to show them that you can have a really beautifully designed room, you know, for not a lot of money. Let me help you. Because, I don't want people to feel like design is a commodity because it's not for me. It's really an investment. It's an investment in your well-being, how you feel when you walk in the door. It that's how I work with my one-on-one clients, and that's how I want people on Rooms by Rivoli to feel like this room really speaks to me, or it really shows off my personality, and I'm going to bring my pieces into it and make it my own. And
So there's a couple of things in here as well. First of all, I want to recall everybody to Denise McGahey's episode way, way back. I mean, I think she was within the first 10 or 12 episodes. And I remember she offered designer for a day. Wasn't inexpensive.
mm-hmm.
In 2017, I think, or 2016, whatever that was, I think it was like $3,600 for a day. So
Yeah,
that's a lot of money by today's standards for a designer for
sure.
a day. But she's a luxury designer. She has a reputation. And I
Yep.
remember, and she said something similar to what you said, is that there are lots of potential clients who aren't your client today,
Right.
but they will be in 5 or 8 or 10 years. And
Correct.
if you can offer a service to them that respects where they're at now, right? That's exactly
hmm
what you're doing. You're respecting where they are now, Kristen. You're
Right.
saying, I know that you want something beautiful. I know that you want something nice. I know that you need a little bit of help in doing it, but you're not quite ready for my full service. So let's touch point with you. Let's deliver something to you. Let's get you in the Kristen family.
Yep.
And, in 10 years, when you're ready, you're going to think of me first, at least, right? I'm going to get the
Yep.
shot. That's the hope, right?
That's exactly it. Because, again, they were calling me, they were picking up the phone. So
Mm.
clearly they love design and they wanted help. So that's why I said, I've got to figure out a way that I can help these people today. And then 5 years from now, when they've got that promotion and they've got a new job and they're ready to move on to a new house, we're ready to jump in with you. But let's give you a foundation right now. And again, make you feel really good about your home and where you're living today.
Now, let's go through that conversation because I imagine that, it could potentially be tricky, right?
hmm
Because
hmm
not everybody is going to be completely upfront about their budget. And a lot of people don't understand what their budget is. A lot of
Right.
people don't understand what true luxury design costs. They're calling you, but that doesn't mean they grasp it. And
Exactly.
so, how do you navigate the conversation that converts them from, this might not be for you, but this is for you, without
hmm
insulting them, right
Right. Of
because
course
if
not.
we all know, I mean, if you've had enough sales conversations, introductory calls, I would say 7 out of 10 times we can ascertain that
Right.
the
Right.
person on the other end may not be our customer. There's always
Mhm.
that chance where somebody surprises us. We're like, whoa, never would have expected
Right.
that, right? But there's usually a moment that we're like, probably not your girl.
Yeah.
But converting them without being like, hey, you're not ready for me is tricky. So how do you
Yep.
do that, Kristen?
Well, I just explained that obviously I have to charge where I'm at in my career. And this is, where my business is at this point. I want to work with you. I want to find a way to work with you. And now I have this service that I can offer to them and say, maybe this is a better alternate option for you because I've given you what my professional fee budget would be, and it's clearly too much. You're letting me know that you can't afford that. So let's, let's brainstorm here. And does this seem appealing to you? Check this out and see if it works. Because again, it's something that you pick and choose. You don't have to buy everything that's in the package. You
Mm.
have the links. You can buy a sofa today, and then you can buy the area rug next month or 6 months from now. So you have those links, you have the control to get the pieces when you're able to. And that's reality.
Well, and so, but take me one step before that. So you're talking from the point where you're like, oh yeah, you don't have the budget.
Yep.
Where kind of questions and what kind of conversation do you have that that you're able to bring into what you just called your professional
Yes.
fee budget? Because that's the trickier part, I think, for most of your colleagues to grasp.
So when I had gone on some of those calls, and, as I would with anybody, I have them kind of give me a summary or a scope of work that they're looking to do. So of course it's, a new condo, they've got living room, they've got, the bedroom, they've got a guest room that might be their home office, they've got the kitchen area. They're taking me around, and I'm trying to be as efficient as I possibly can, and also trying to use the junior staff that I have to help with the pricing. And I figure out the hours, and I say to them, listen, this is going to cost X to get your work done. And then we're going to buy furniture for you. So here's our design fee, which is separate from the furniture budget. So everything that we need to purchase to do the scope of work that you're telling me. And, a few times they would say, oh, well, that's really all the money that we have for the design. So, right away, we're not able to work with you. And, that's frustrating. And so I want to make this work for you, and let's see how we can do that together. But it was hard. You're delivering bad news to people.
Mm-hmm. And do you typically have, more often does that conversation happen on the phone? You're not even getting to the house, or it sounds like you're making those appointments and having that at the house. How is that happening, Kristen?
So I no longer do those calls at the house. We're doing a lot more vetting on the phone. And again, I'm always refining my processes. Every year, I'm always looking at how we can do things better and better. So in the past, where I would go and have a meet and greet and see if we're a right fit kind of meeting, now I have my business manager, Jeannie, will be the first person that somebody will talk to. And we kind of talk, and we have questions that we like to ask and find out a little bit about them. And then she sets up either an in-person meeting with me or a Zoom call meeting, depending on where they are or our schedules.
And I know that other designers have shared with me that, they've gotten to a point in their business where, based on the data of their past projects, they can, on the fly, in a conversation, ballpark design fees. So are you, that's where you're at, and that's the kind of pre-qualification that Jeannie is doing for you.
Yeah, she basically gets all of the information so that when I'm on the call, I've already kind of thought about the project a little bit. If the client wants to, I always ask what your budget is. And as you've said, 9 times out of 10, people don't really know unless they've done design work before. And so then that's where we step in and say, okay, a house this big, we price it out at X a square foot, and it's going to be in this ballpark.
Right. It's important to be able to ballpark. It's funny because a lot of times in the designer Facebook groups, I will see a post comes in and someone will say, my client is expecting me to give them a ballpark when I haven't, done the work yet. Like, how am I supposed to, know this? And my brain is like, you got to know it, though. You have to know it. That's like walking into a car dealership and looking at a Hyundai and looking at a Rolls Royce and looking at, a BMW and the guy saying, well, which one do you want? And you're like, well, give me an idea of the price. And he says, well, I mean, just pick which one you want. It's like, is it going to be 30,000 or 300,000? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And you can just like the car, you can say there's a lot of variables that are going to go into this that are going to affect this, but in general, in my experience, a primary bedroom is going to be la la la, or a house this many square feet is going to be la la la.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And over the years, obviously, we've done a ton of different projects, and we've gotten into now where we're doing a lot of new construction or gut renovation projects, primary residence, second homes. Uh, you know, we just did a project down in Palm Beach. We've done a project in Manhattan. So, we've got the range where we can say, okay, this is your primary residence, uh, brand new, and you've got a lot of pieces that's coming along with you, but not everything's going to be able to be reused. Tell me what you love, what you don't love. We can go from there, but here's what the ballpark range would be: top to bottom, window treatments to rugs, brand new. That's what this home is going to cost.
And that's a great qualifier, brand new, because, some people do come with if somebody's got a $20,000 Persian rug already, then boom, we can take that out of the budget.
Right. And so we don't really know yet what's going to be.
Right.
But everybody comes with pieces that they want to keep, that they want to incorporate. We love that because, again, this is your home. This is not a showroom. This is, we want to personalize this. Maybe we're going to reupholster that chair, but we're going to keep that chair.
Right. And I love the idea of using that qualifier, everything brand new, because that's like saying, well, the Maserati fully loaded, you know what I mean? It's like, all right, you don't have to have the massager when you sit down.
Exactly.
Right. Or you don't have to have the chauffeur with it.
Right. I'll skip the driver.
Exactly.
I want the leather seats with the air conditioning.
That's it. And the thing is, again, I think the big point that I like to drive home here is that it is incumbent upon us as the professionals to be able to throw a realistic ballpark number at somebody. Because when you ask somebody what their budget is and they say that they don't know, it really is a combination of, I don't know, and I don't want to say more than I need to say.
Right. A lot of people don't want to give a number because they're afraid that you're going to spend it all.
Sell right to that number. Right.
Right. And it's like, no, we're not going to do that because I can see the neighborhood, or I can see that this is a second home. So obviously we know we don't need to go big if you don't want to go big. But let's talk. Let's see what your comfort level is. Do you want a $2,500 sofa or do you want the $20,000 sofa?
Right.
So
that's one of my favorite questions that you can ask, because that literally splits the line down the middle of the person who gets it and the person who does not. Right. I mean, there is just an entire world of people, myself included, that couldn't even imagine that a sofa would be $25,000 if I were not in this industry. I'd be like, you're out of your mind. Right. But when you're in the industry, or you are a client that has worked with an interior designer before, that has, had the luxury of having luxury design, then you might say, well, we don't have to do 25 this time, but 15 would be great. Like, that's your working client right there, right? Mm-hmm. Not the one that's like, wait, there's sofas that are $25,000.
Right.
That's a car, isn't it?
Right. Yeah. That's, exactly.
Yeah.
And so we try to make sure that we're right in that sweet spot for them.
Love it. I love it. And, so it's been going for a year. To do something like this, Kristen, this is not a minute. So it's been up and live for a year, but I know from my own experience and with my own businesses, and also with the designers that I've worked with, having this idea or hearing this idea from you and thinking, yay, there's a big, long turn in the middle to get to this, from idea to execution. Pull out some of maybe one or two of the things that surprised you were more difficult to kind of come to clarity on for yourself, or that you just said, hindsight, like if you thinking you're going to rebrand in whichever way it is, pay attention to this or to that, some of the things that, your lessons in this experience, I guess, is what I'm asking.
Well, I think that I appreciate that you understand that it was a year and a half of pulling this together before anything went live. we went through a lot of iterations of what the rooms were going to look like, how and what we were going to put in those packages. It really how we wanted to be able to feel like we were reaching out to the right people. And so it did take a lot of time. The direction that we started in is not the direction we ended up in. And, a lot of that work was done with my brand strategist when we were doing my interior design website and just kind of dealing with making sure we were talking to those right people. Then we switched over to Rooms by Rivoli and, really thought long and hard about it. And so it really, I always keep myself, open to ideas. I want to make sure that, yes, I had this idea, but maybe I wasn't going in the right direction. I listened to the experts. And she had groups, she would throw things out at them, groups of people, and they would give her feedback. And then she would, come back and say, okay, this is what they said. And, I had to basically switch gears. So I think
why did they say that? I didn't want them to like it that way.
I want to like the way that I want it. And so yeah, you have to be open to like changing, gears and pivoting and maybe doing it a little differently than what you would normally do.
Right. That's funny. It's true. You do have to be open. And I do know that it takes, there's a lot that goes into the idea coming to fruition. And I've learned over the years, when we have an idea at LuAnn Inc. or Window Works, I'm like, okay, strap on. How many months are we gonna let's put an end, let's put a deadline on this. Let's try and actually, you miss the deadline, you pass the deadline, all the things. But if you don't at least start to think about how quickly or what's our goal for getting this out into the world, you really could go for years with this idea and take 2 steps forward and 3 steps back.
Right. And we did put a deadlines are a designer's best friend, first of all, because it forces you to do the work and create the timeline, right? So I'm all about schedules and moving backwards from the deadline. And so we did. And obviously the deadline would get pushed out a little bit if, we weren't quite there. When we launched, it wasn't perfect. We did some tweaks on the spot after we soft launched the website based on some feedback we got. So again, we just have to kind of listen to the experts or listen to the feedback. And if you're hearing the same things, then listen to it. It's probably the right thing.
Yeah, I love that. A couple of great strategies in there to set the deadlines, to understand it's not going to be perfect at launch, to listen to the experts, and to also listen to your target client.
Yep. Yeah.
What do you know anyway? I'm selling this to you, but
professional here.
Exactly. So one question I'm curious about: why did you not add the layer of the affiliate links into this? Because in the many conversations that we've had over the course of the podcast with designers that have developed product services, along this line, so often that is one of the components. So what was the thinking on that, Kristen?
I didn't want to get it so complicated, right? I didn't want it to feel like, okay, I'm going to sell you this and I'm selling you this because I'm getting XYZ commission on it. I really wanted it to be about the design because that is what we are doing. And, you're hiring me for my design expertise. You're hiring me because you like the work that I do. And really, at the end of the day, that's why anybody is hiring us, is they love the work that we do. And so I wanted people to feel comfortable knowing that you're buying the design, you're buying this curated look, and I'm there to help you. I've added this little half-hour video consultation if you want, so I'm definitely here. I'm not running away. So we can chat and we can talk about it afterwards. But I just didn't want there to be the complications of affiliates and, oh, you're beholden to that company, so that's why you're selling that stuff. No, these are the things that I thought looked great and really pulled look together for me. And so I wanted it to be kind of free and clear of that.
I have to say, there's great benefit to, if you're going to lean into e-commerce, for lack of a better word, right? To having the affiliate links. I mean, we've got Leslie Carruthers, who's been on the show, and Jenna Gadusik, and these are experts. These are women that have really leaned into this, right? And so there's no question that if you want to create a platform like this that does have affiliate links, that there's a positive to it. But that's very interesting, Kristen, what you just said. And I like that too. And it's not for everybody, it's for you, is that you wanted to be very clear to the consumer that what they were buying from you was your, I'm going to call it your intellectual property, your design expertise. I mean, there's something that I think subtly confirms the branding of your initial and your major umbrella of the luxury design firm there, right? It's almost like it comes back to what you're doing is you're confirming and educating that potential client of 5 to 10 years down the road that what your value as a designer is the design, not the commodity of the piece of furniture.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Yep. Like I said, design, it's not a commodity for me. It's an investment. So, you're investing in how I'm taking your information, I'm putting it through my filter, and I'm creating this home that is unique to you. So I want that Rooms by Rivoli living room or bedroom or home office to feel very unique to you.
So now that's interesting because you're putting it out as a specific set of products in the space. So how are you then translating and selling the idea that it's unique to them? If I go to the website and the Boston cozy bedroom is the same for me as it is for somebody else, where does that unique proposition come into it, Kristen?
Well, the uniqueness is that your home is not like anybody else's home. The room that you're putting these pieces in is not like anybody else's room. And you might have bedside tables or you might have a dresser. And so you're not going to be buying every single piece that is part of that package. So it's the you that you bring to the package that is going to make it look different from anybody else's house.
Interesting. And the thing is, when you say it, I'm like, well, of course that's true. If we all went into Levitt's back in the day and bought the same furniture and put it in each of our own living rooms, it would look somewhat different.
Maybe you get the wallpaper and maybe not. Maybe you just paint the whole room. Maybe you're getting the art and decor that I've put on there, and maybe you've already got some. So it's really how you, the individual, is going to take those pieces and make it your own.
Love it. I love it. And right now, how many rooms do you have available for purchase?
So of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 styles, we have living room, we have primary bedroom, and we have home offices in each of those 6 styles. And then, as time goes on, we plan to add more rooms.
That's what I was wondering. Is the plan to add more topic rooms like family room, basement, kitchen, or is the plan to add more styles within the rooms that you already offer?
No, I think it's different rooms. So family rooms, basements, kids rooms, and if you have any requests, please send them in. We're happy to do, if you guys are looking for a certain room that we don't have, we're happy to do that. But yes, we do plan to expand the rooms that are available.
I love it. So at this point, would you say that most of the consumers that are purchasing your rooms, are the leads, are those people coming through the conversations that come to the design firm for full service and you're directing, or is it a Google search and that type of thing? Like where is it being generated from at this point?
Yeah, it's really online searching. We have an Instagram account at Rooms by Rivoli. And we are putting it out there. I'm putting it out on my regular design account, on Instagram and Facebook, and so we're really doing a lot of online marketing, and because that's where if you're looking for retail pieces, you're online, and that's where people are finding us.
Okay, and so then the follow up to that is if somebody is finding you on Instagram and they click through to the website, they're pretty much able to just click and buy. Like you're now not touching them. You've done all the big work in the beginning, but now it's click and buy.
Yep, exactly. The heavy lifting is in the beginning when we're putting the rooms together and we're collecting the links, when we set up the website. Now it's really, we check the links once every couple of weeks to make sure that they're still active. And if a link dies, then we modify it, but we always try and keep it pretty much close to what the original is.
Well, so, that's a great tip. You can't just leave it to sit there. It does have to be checked. Otherwise, you're not, you're going to get complaints and all the other things.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay. And then you mentioned once or twice about the video conference. Is that something that somebody can also click on and buy and say extra? Yep. That's an extra thing that they can say, and I'll take one video conference, please.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's just
so they don't even have to engage with your office to set that up. What does it go right to a scheduling link and all? You set aside certain days for video conference days. If there's no video conferences, you get work done.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's great. It's fun.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the way to do it, is to just say, okay, the second Tuesday. Like how often do you set aside in your calendar for a video conference like that?
I have 2 days in the week that I will set aside that I will take, those kind of video appointments.
And they're blocked out of your calendar for trade events or to, customer related, client related events, your team related events. It's like blah, blah, blah. And again, as I said, if nobody bought it that week, then you've got time on your hands to get something done.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Those are my in-office days.
Yes. Interesting. So good. So you're feeling great about it, right? You're feeling hopeful about it. That'll be a nice revenue stream.
Yeah, I really do.
It's proving the concept in a year.
I've gotten really good feedback. We've gotten a lot of interest in it. So yeah, I'm really happy with it. And I think it's, going to continue to do well.
Now, last question on it is, you mentioned a couple of times getting the expert advice, and that this expert also was going out and sounded like they were conducting focus groups. Who is an expert? Like what, designer listening, like, Yellow Pages. Like, am I looking for is it brand strategist? Is it a product launch person? Like, what is that expert that you hired?
Yep. So it was a brand strategist who and consultant somebody that I know locally here. Christine Kennedy, and she's a brand strategist, and she works in the design community. She's come from the design world, and she really helped me to focus in on who is my end user, who's the avatar for Rooms by Rivoli, and that really helped us to speak to that person.
I love it. And then from there, did you work with someone prior to Christine to help you discover or confirm that the idea that you had was a valid idea and marketable? Or did you just have your own gut instinct and, 30 years of experience and said, I have enough conversations with my clients to know that there's a market for this?
Yeah, it was really just a gut instinct that here's an idea here. And, I'm kind of the mindset that, you know what, let's give it a shot. If it succeeds, great. If it doesn't, we failed and move on, but you have to kind of put yourself out there. And that's what I always do day after day. You put yourself out there, and sometimes you get the big job, sometimes you don't, but I just kind of stay true to myself and my gut and make sure that, I'm thinking things through. I'm talking to the experts after that, and try and make sure we're making the right decisions.
I love it. Well, and that is, the thing. You do have to consistently listen to not only what your clients are telling you, really listen, right? Because this was born out of really listening to your clients instead of just hearing, oh, the budget is, I don't have a budget for that. You heard the underlying, the next sentence was, but boy, I love design and I want my house to be beautiful. So it's listening to the whole thing and then reflecting on, where could I meet that? Where could I put a solution for that dilemma, right, Kristen?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and speaking of that, I'll be making a big announcement here, but soon on my website I'm going to be having a shop page because I'm going to be introducing my rug line.
Oh, that's
breaking news.
Yeah. Wow. And are you doing that in collaboration with a brand that we would know, or you went out and did your own thing? How are you doing that?
So I'm doing it on my own. For years, for my one-on-one clients, I've always created custom rugs for our projects. And they are beautiful hand-knotted rugs from Nepal. And I have a wonderful person who I work with. Their factory over there is incredible. And if you look on my website, you will see so many beautiful rugs that are unique and one of a kind. And I've gotten compliments over the years and people always telling me how much they loved the rugs that I designed. And so we started talking. Again, I'm never stopping because I'm just I've got this crazy, tenacious work ethic. And so I was like, all right, I'm a people pleaser. So let's make a rug line.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So launching very soon on my main website will be a shop page. And I'm going to have rugs available.
Those will be available to retail, like, consumers can go and designers can go and all the things.
Yep. And it's priced really well. They'll have different sizes available and different colorways and different styles. And, it's going to be fantastic. And I hope that, people really come to love it. Obviously, if they want to do a custom rug, they should reach out because we're always doing custom rugs. But these are set rugs, different colors, different styles, and can't wait to soft launch it soon.
Wow. So congratulations, number one. That I can imagine the work that went into that. Okay.
Yeah.
But let me ask you a question. So I'm on the website and I'm on the Boston Back Bay residence. So I don't know if you know your project so well that I can ask you a question of it. Okay, I figured you do, right? Yeah. So there's one rug that's like a Greek key pattern. That ottoman is insane, by the way. Did you design that?
That's a custom design ottoman.
Whoa.
Yep, we love that. And we get a ton of compliments on that.
That is something else. So is the example of the custom rugs from Nepal that type of rug, or more the rug that's in the hallway that looks like what I would think of as a, type of, like, I don't know these terms.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
So if you look at the Boston Millennium Tower project.
Okay. All right. And that's going to show me.
There'll be several rugs there.
Interesting.
In the living room, there's a rug. Now, these designs are unique to my clients. The colors are unique to them. A lot of them have silk in them. But then there's a hallway rug and some children's bedroom rugs that I designed in that project.
Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Okay. So beautiful. I mean, okay, so I'm looking like I'm seeing, oh, I see. Okay, so the children's rugs here. Yeah. Very interesting. Yeah. Okay. Wow, that's exciting. Really, really exciting. Congratulations. I know how much work it goes into bringing a product to market. It's
it's
not
really
easy.
Hard.
Yeah. Very good.
Yeah, we want to spread the love and make sure everybody, if they love the rugs, they can have one too.
Nice. Very nice. Well, Kristen, website is, give us how to reach you and how to find this so they can see these things that I'm looking at while we're talking.
Okay. So my website is www.KristenRivoli, RIVOLI.com.
Perfect. And it's Kristen, EN, right?
Kristen E.N., and then it's roomsbyrivoli.com.
Right. Love it. Well, you know what? I don't know when I'll be back to Boston, but when I do, I'm hoping that we're going to sit and have dinner together again.
Yes, that would be so fun. I would love that.
Me too. Me too. Thank you so much for sharing all of your help and your strategies today. So great. I really enjoyed talking with you again today, Kristen. Thanks.
Thank you, LuAnn.
One of the things I like about what Kristen has done is that the root of it is inclusivity, right? Her regular client base, her target client is luxury clients, and she has the experience and the portfolio to back it up. But she found herself coming in contact and meeting clients who really didn't understand the budget that it takes to work with a luxury designer. And it would have been easy for Kristen to say, yeah, well, okay, I feel bad. There's not a lot I can do about it, right? We've all done that. We've talked on the show all the time about how important it is to say no to the wrong client, because those are the projects that just don't work out right? And there's nothing wrong with that. But in this, Kristen saw an opportunity, not only to build inclusivity into her business, but also to create something that made curated design accessible to more people. And it also gives her the opportunity to start a relationship with people who maybe years down the road, when they do have the budget for a large-scale design project, she will be the one they call. It's smart, it's savvy, it's built on good intentions, and I think it's pretty impressive. Now, I know from experience that it isn't easy to do. Expanding your business takes time, it takes balance, it takes energy, and it's hard work. Okay. It took us 2.5 years to put 38 East together from start to finish. Okay. Which, by the way, I'm just going to share with you. You can see it at shop38east.com if you're interested. Okay. These are the original fabric designs by Kimberly Seraphin, who works for us. All right. And just like Kristen, where we started with 38 East isn't exactly where we ended up. And so this is the thing. You have to kind of keep moving, be nimble, keep your eye on the prize. And as I said, it's not easy to do this, and it does take time and patience, but it's possible. And also on top of it, now Kristen is going to do it all again by bringing her custom rug line to the forefront. You know, she's a hard worker. That's all I got to tell you, right? And I want to say there are a couple of big takeaways from this episode. I love how Kristen distinguishes herself from the design in the box by focusing on that curated feel, the experience that the client has. In a lot of ways, she's bringing in the core of design, the feeling of having something special created for them, right to that broader market. And you can tell in the way that she talks about Rooms by Rivoli that this is a labor of love for her, that it's built on integrity and with the best of intentions, right? I also want to highlight some of our conversation that's centered around the budget. Look, Kristen is seasoned. You can tell from her conversation. She has a feel for the ballparking, right? And she can take in a project and literally scan it and produce a realistic number for potential clients. If you are newer, you might struggle with this, but it is important to know that your clients need to understand the realistic picture that, that they're looking at ahead of them. And it's even more important to know that you're the one that's supposed to provide that. Okay. So it's hard to do. It takes experience, but there are things that you can do to grow your experience and your expertise on the way so that you are more proficient at this. Okay. Because the thing is, not everybody understands the values and the intricacies that go into an interior design project. Not everybody even knows or understands their own budget. And even the ones who have an idea of their budget are still going to be hesitant to give you that realistic number. So you need to be able to ballpark it and to be upfront and honest with them. You need to understand what you can realistically provide for them and be able to express the value that you bring to the table in providing that, okay? You need to show what's fair for you, what's fair for them, and what it will take for the two of you together to create a successful project. Okay. And the one other point that I wanted to emphasize is that Kristen laid out the idea of relying on experts. By now, you know that I'm all about bringing in those subject matter experts, right, that can help us with their superpower and their outside perspective on the things that we work on in our businesses. And this is what Kristen did with her brand strategist, Christine Kennedy. All right. And not only did she rebrand her design firm, but they created this branding for Rooms by Rivoli at the same time. And that does take a little help from an expert, I think, right? And then there's one other nuance in here that I want to point out. Kristen actually didn't rely on an expert to tell her that her idea would work. She leaned on her own gut, her experience, okay? And I'm not going to say that I'm always going to advise you to rely only on your gut, okay? But it is huge. And when you do have an idea and you know people are looking for it and you know they're not getting it from anyone else, well, then it is important to rely on your gut and to look at that opportunity and see how you can make it happen for yourself. This is how you create a well-designed business, right? You get an idea, you kind of fluff it out a little, source it out and see if it works, see if it will. There's a market and everything. But at some point, you're going to rely on that gut intuition. Okay. So I want to say, if you are interested in seeing what Kristen has created or checking out her upcoming line of beautiful custom rugs, visit her at Kristen Rivoli. That's KristenRivoli.com, or go to roomsbyrivoli.com and see what's happening over there. I want to say thank you, Kristen, so much for your insights today. Right now, I want to say to you, I am looking forward to seeing you at High Point. All right. I hope that you're planning to join me at the fun meet and greet that we have on Thursday night, October 14th at Pandora's Manor. This is a free party thanks to the generosity of our sponsor, Rebel Woods. We will have food and wine and fun and laughs. Okay. So go to the link in the show notes to RSVP, or go to the link tree in my Instagram profile, LuAnn Nigara. The event is free. Many of my co-authors and podcast guests and Lu University instructors will be there, along with the Vin Man and myself. So I hope to see you there. And one more thing, a big shout out to Seema Goldberg. Seema, I read your review on iTunes today, and all I can say is wow and thank you. I appreciate so much your thoughts, and I want to tell you that I look forward to meeting you too in real life one day. So make sure that you definitely introduce yourself to me, Seema, when the time comes. Until then, decide to be excellent. Thank you so much for joining me again today. This podcast is a production of WindowWorks, your resource for custom window treatments and awnings. To learn how we can help you on your next interior design project, go to www.windowworks-nj.com. And if you're interested in working with me on your business, either through masterminds or one-on-one coaching, or you want to know how to get my book, The Making of a Well-Designed Business, or you just want to know what's going on in the podcast land and where I'm going to be, all of that is found at LuAnnNigara.com. Thank you so much. Have an excellent day.